Just under 2 weeks remain in the Philippine Superliga Grand Prix. That's why every team is doing a little more in every facet of the game. Flying a little bit higher, hitting a little bit harder, and pushing a little bit stronger. Every team today looking to elevate their game as the Foton Tornadoes take on the Petron Blaze Spikers first up, and later on the Signal HD Spikers collide with the RC Cola Air Force Raiders in the main event. Coming to you from the Cuneta Asadome in Pasay City, the Philippine Superliga Grand Prix brought to you by Solar Sports. James Velasquez on hand with Chicky Pablo, Mitchell Carmen joining us later at courtside. You know, the finish line is almost there for all of these teams, and as we will be looking at the team standings so far in the Grand Prix, it is time to buckle up or shut up.
That's right. You know, a lot of people may think that the game today would be lopsided because it's going to be between Foton, the last in the team standings, versus Petron, first in the team standings. But we would like to remind everybody that Foton defeated RC Cola in last Saturday's game, and RC Cola defeated Petron in the following day, Sunday. So the slayer has been slayed, so to speak.
And of course, always with the possibility of an upset here in the game of volleyball. That's why it's so exciting to cover the games here. Well, we have to talk about the protagonists for today's matchup. Of course, looking at Petron against Foton when they first collided, it was a strong showing for the Petron Blaze Spikers, winning that one 3-1.
That's right. And you know, at that time, Mina Aganon wasn't there, and Dindin Santiago also wasn't there, and yet they were able to defeat Foton in 4 sets. You know, Foton's errors was the one that really did it for them. They had 32 errors against 14 only of Petron's.
Elena Tarasova had 19 points. Irina Tarasova had 11 points, or Tarasova rather, 32 errors as a team. But you can see Erika Adachi, there was a time when she was converted into a hitter. And of course, she is still set up Elena Bergson, who exploded for 29 points.
Yeah, and as we can see on the screen there, Z Hervasio did her thing as expected, putting in 20 points. Of course, having her to be matched up with Elena Bergsma is something. So if Foton can just keep working, the locals keep working, then a different story may be seen today.
And of course, as you look at the Petron Blaze Spikers with Elena Bergson leading the way, Petron, of course, coming from a loss.
Yes.
That's why they are very hungry to get the win today. But for the Foton Tornadoes with Elena and Irina Tarasova sort of gelling now with their team, hoping for another victory. In their last game, we have to talk about the effort that Foton put against the RC Cola Air Force Raiders.
Yeah, you know, that was a classic game of David and Goliath in terms of team standings, because they were able to defeat the number 2 in team standings, RC Cola. But I think the one that did it for Foton was the excellent digs and the excellent receptions that they had. It was 44 for Foton and only 38 for the Air Force Raiders. And for the reception, they had 31 for Foton and only 27 from the Air Force Raiders.
And when RC Cola defeated Petron, it was 3-1. Elena Bergson failing to get the necessary support from her local crew. Well, we'll see if Irina Tarasova suffered a injury a few games back, so hopefully Tarasova will be ready to play against her counterparts from the Petron side of things. And of course, a lot of subplots here in this story. We have at courtside Mitch Del Carmen delivering those stories.
James and Chicky, coming into this game, we have 2 different teams with 2 different morales. Foton Tornadoes, who just came from a 5-set win against the RC Cola, hopes that they really have to continue that positive, or the confidence level that they had coming from their last 2 games. And they also have that positive aura coming into this game, hoping to win their last 2 games to enter the semifinals. Now, on the other hand, the Petron Blaze Spikers, who just came from a 4-set loss against the RC Cola, took that loss as a big eye-opener for the team. The Blaze Spikers felt that they became too complacent, thus they really took that loss as a big wake-up for the team, and that really made them value the beauty of being number 1. Now, for today's game, from the words of Foton head coach Belletti, expects that the Foton today will level up with Petron's plays, and from actually what her exact words were, makikipagsabayan nga daw sila sa mga laro ni Coach George for today. James and Chicky?
Thank you so much, Mitch Del Carmen. Well, for both combatants today, you cannot afford a slow start.
That's right. And you know, talagang kailangan pagsabayan ni Coach Villette ang game nila against Petron because Petron, they have a fast pace and Foton cannot afford to have a slow pace at the beginning.
Petron versus Foton next, only here on Solar Sports. Being down 2-0, and then the mental fortitude to take the next 3 sets for the victory.
You know, that's really where the character of the player comes out. Foton at that time started out slow. They seemed like they knew they weren't going to win the game. They had that kind of mindset. But then, you know, when they started hitting those good balls and moving in the court, they started earning the points. And when they realized that they could get a set, then they did it all the way.
And immediately, Erica Adachi combining with Dindin Santiago, who puts it down from the middle.
Every time we have Petron here, the fans are just really loud.
Back set this time for Elena Tarasova, who finds the opening.
There was no coverage there. That's why that was an easy point for Foton.
And you know, one point that I'd like to mention is, of course, this setter's battle between Ruby De Leon and Erica Adachi.
Yes, both great setters.
Irina Tarasova loading that one up. Dindin goes to Mina Aganon. Bayatan digs it up. Castillo chases it, and they give up a chance ball. Adachi goes to Elena Bergsma. A look at the hustle of the Foton Tornadoes. Oh, look at Adachi scoring.
You know, they were able to get all the hard balls from Petron, but that was an easy over by Adachi, and they missed that.
Let's go to courtside with Mitch Del Carmen.
James and Chicky, from the first meeting of Petron and Foton, Coach Villette feels that the Foton's loss was mainly because of their own errors, especially on their service reception errors. Because of that, the girls didn't have opportunities for set plays. That is why Coach Villette dedicated more than 50% of her training time for first ball receives and floor defense. James and Chicky?
Well, thank you so much, Mitch. And like you mentioned, that communication, sometimes opportunities like that, still with a chance to save it, especially when you're not able to handle the service of your opponent, that just makes your job all that much more harder.
Yeah, and that's why it was a really good idea that Coach Villette concentrated on service reception, because if you have no service, that's an easy point, like this one for Dindin Santiago. She made an easy point for Petron with her service. Now, if there's no reception on Foton, they won't be able to have an attack.
Dindin Santiago had just 13 points in the last game of Petron Blaze. Anemic in terms of the usual Dindin Santiago numbers you're used to. Combination play for Elena, doesn't go. Back set, Adachi to Elena Bergsma, that's good.
Perfect set from Adachi and a perfect hit from Bergsma.
Of course, the reinforcement combination of Erica Adachi setting it up, and Bergsma up high for the strong finish. Dindin Santiago back on deck to serve. Petron with the lead, 5-1. Good read by Foton Tornadoes.
That was a good call. I thought I heard their coach say it to the outside.
Elena Tarasova, 25 points against the RC Cola Air Force Raiders. And Tarasova, both of them, both Tarasova ladies, can be really prolific when set up properly by Ruby De Leon, just like this one, off the blocker for the finish.
You know, Elena Tarasova played a really good game when they went up against RC Cola. Her blocks were just fantastic, and you know, the defense by the net, it was awesome to see, and if she can just replicate that today, that will serve them well.
Elena Tarasova on deck to serve. Back set again, Erica to Elena. And a violation on the part of the Foton Tornadoes. Petron up by 3 points, 6 serving 3.
Violation
Mina Aganon on deck to serve for the Blaze Spikers. Had just 9 points in their loss to RC Cola Air Force. Irina Tarasova couldn't score that time. Aganon gives it back. Chance for the Foton Tornadoes. Ivy Remulla couldn't score. Cross-court setup for Cesc Molina. And that's down the line for the finish.
That was a good hit by Molina because that just hit the hands of Irina Tarasova and hitting that floor. Point. Badly needed by Petron.
7 serving 3. Oh, miscommunication there. And a chance now for Petron Blaze. Erica. Off the blocker for the finish, and Petron Blaze will go for the first technical. The undefeated Chris Algeri, November 23, only here on Solar Sports. Irina Tarasova blocked away.
Good block there by Molina and Micah Morada, considering they're smaller than Irina.
And you know, points coming off your defense.
Yeah.
Also very big here for the Petron Blaze Spikers. Oh, Ivy Remulla with a score.
Good quick there by Ivy Remulla, one of the spikes or the hits that she favors.
And you know, from that middle position, Ivy has actually played very solidly throughout the Grand Prix.
Yes, and we hope that we see more of her action today.
Here's Elena loading that one up and puts it down.
That was a powerful down-the-line hit by Elena.
And Petron up by 6, 10 serving 4. As you look at Erica Adachi, picture perfect play. Elena Brigsma on deck to serve. Spectacular scoring. The last time out for Elena, 25 points against the RC Cola Air Force Raiders. They go to the other side. Estilo, that one is good.
There was no coverage there for Petron. Elena was behind the blockers. This is where kaya ang libero maliit because it's faster for a defense compared to a taller person.
Target Vincent Santiago on the service.
Yes, they did.
Molina running attack, doesn't go. Excellent dig by Irina Tarasova. Other side to Gustilo. Jen Reyes trying to dive for it, but not quick enough.
You know, I think Foton is slowly learning that Petron's weakness is in the coverage of the blocks. And they've earned the 2 consecutive points with just the dig.
They target Jen Reyes, but Reyes receives well. Cesc Molina, that's good.
Cesc Molina, one of the reliable players of Petron, with a cross-court hit there.
And such a welcome addition. Of course, Cesc Molina had a hiatus from playing competitive volleyball, but coming out of San Beda College, obviously she has the volleyball pedigree.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be able to compete here in the Superliga, but one more lady with that volleyball pedigree, Jill Gustilo, getting the finish for Foton.
Jill Gustilo having good training from Adamson. She's applying it here.
Ivy Remulla from De La Salle University on deck to serve. Aganon receives well. Adachi to Dindin. Ball doesn't fall. Adachi backs at this time to Cesc Molina, trying to go for the sideline. Unfortunately, sends it over.
You know, one of the things that I like about Adachi is that when you make a mistake, she just encourages you to concentrate and to make up for that mistake. And she distributes her sets very well.
Santiago sends it to the other side. Cesc Molina off speed, gets the finish.
I think there was a miscommunication there between Ivy Remulla and Irina Tarasova. That's why the ball just landed in between them.
12 serving 8. Cesc Molina on deck. Actually, one of the ladies that killed Foton the first time they squared off without Dindin Santiago and Mina Agano, Cesc Molina was that primary attacker for the Petron Blaze Spikers.
You know, it's so much fun watching Frances Molina, because she's so consistent and so reliable, and every time she makes a mistake, she gets up right away and makes up for it.
Irina off the block, but kept alive. Elena adjusts, tries to get the drop ball, but doesn't fall. A running attack for Tintin Santiago. Great dig by Patty Orendain. Gustilo. And that one is good.
You know, it's good to see that Foton is really moving about in their side of the court. It just shows that there's communication there. If they can just keep this up, it'll be a good game for them as well as Petrons.
9 serving 13. Aganon from the other side, trying to get Bayantan, and Mina will score.
You know, the thing about Petron is that there are so many spikers or hitters there that can support Elena Bergsma. And for Foton, the hitters there have to be more aggressive.
Irina forced to adjust. Off-speed attack doesn't go. Quick hit. Ball doesn't fall, and Foton will score.
That's a good block there by Elena. That's her forte, the net. Every time you put her there by the net, she'll handle the ball.
10 serving 14. Ruby De Leon on deck. Also very dangerous from the service line. Adachi sends it over to Elena. Off the blocker. Ball kept alive. Off speed, but Morada digs it up. Back set to Elena. Ball doesn't fall. What a save for Foton. Irina couldn't score on the attack. Elena with a push. Good rally here in set number 1. And Irina Tarasova with the exclamation.
That was a great hit from Irina, hitting the corner of the attack line. Nicely done.
Foton down by just 3. 11 serving 14. Elena didn't score that time. Bayantan with a great dig. Here's Irina. Adachi with a great dig of her own. There's Dindin off speed. Ball doesn't fall. Back set for Irina. Excellent save from the back line. Mina Ganon, ambitious hit. That's good.
You know, that could have gone out if Bea had not tried to get that ball. So, well, that's a free point for a good point for Petron.
The Blaze Spikers with a chance to go to the second technical timeout with the lead. Unfortunately for Dindin, sends that one long. Foton again, down by just 3.
You know, Dindin told me a while ago that she really overloaded on service receive because she knows that the services of the opponents are going to be towards her. Except for this one, but too bad they had a miscommunication between Jen and Micah Morata.
And Elena Tarasova serving up an ace. A little English on that one. And Jen Reyes couldn't handle it. Tarasova on deck to serve. 13 serving 15. Back set for Elena Bergsma. That's good. And once again, Petron Blaze going into the second technical timeout with a 16-13 lead. As the setter of Foton and Inaganon on deck to serve. Back set for Irina Tarasova. That's good.
She does it again. Another cross-court hit, almost the same area, earning them that point.
And this is something that Ruby De Leon did in their game against the RC Cola Air Force Raiders, just feeding her reinforcements, especially when Irina is in the front line. Here's Elena Bergsma, but Bayantan with an excellent dig. Chance for Petron Blaze. Adachi back to Elena. That's good.
Parang Elena was going, okay, you got that hit? Okay, I'm going to give you another one. I'm making sure that you won't get this one.
And you know, for someone 6'3", she really gets up and over the volleyball.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing about the American imports or reinforcements. They jump so high, their arm swing are so, it's really full. That's why they have that height when they hit the ball.
Jen Reyes, in their battle in the first round against Irina Tarasova, she was able to show for a while that she can handle those power hits up until Irina actually went to the bench with that neck injury. So now I'm sure Irina Tarasova has you know, a lot of time to make up for this game. Ivy Remulla couldn't get to that one fast enough, and point will go to Petron Blaze.
know, Jen Reyes is really doing a good job as the libero of Petron. I mean, she runs everywhere trying to keep the ball alive.
18 serving 15. Micah Morado on deck. Far Eastern University when she played collegiately.
Right.
Drop ball for Irina. Couldn't get that one. Adachi with the push. Well, Ruby De Leon trying to get crafty, but Adachi getting the better of that exchange.
You know, there was an error there from Din Din, but Adachi saved her. You know, Din Din told me that she and Erica Adachi are best friends when they're inside the court. They just click well.
All I know about Erica is that she plays excellent volleyball and that she likes the Filipino slang term chaka.
Chaka.
That's the only thing I know. Again, Irina down the middle, off the blocker for the finish.
And there were 3 blockers that faced her, and yet her ball went in between the seams. Or rather, it went into the seams.
Excellent play from Irina Tarasova. Her team again trailing by 3 points. Ivy Remulla on deck to serve. Adachi getting under it. Din Din has to adjust. Off-speed attack dug up. Back set for Elena. Ball doesn't fall. Other side to Cesc Molina. Trying to load that one up. And point will go to the Foton Tornadoes because of a net violation.
Yeah, the referee said that Adachi did an overreaching. So, point goes to Foton.
Ivy Remulla on deck, 17 serving 19. Ivy, aside from those blocks, those quick attacks from the middle, can also score from the service line. Adachi sending that one back. Again, down the middle, drop ball. Jen Reyes with a dive. And Elena with the attack. Still no finish. Here's Adachi to Cesc Molina, off the blocker.
That was a good idea by Francis Molina, hitting it off the block because Ruby is smaller than she is, so she took advantage of that.
Petron again, up by 3. Ruby De Leon sends it to Jay Gustillo, blocked away and sent away.
And Adachi and Din Din are so happy with that block.
And first time out up.
Or just doing off the block.
Beautiful setup job, but no finish for Foton. Here's Mina Aganon, blocked away by Elena Tarasova.
It seems that the weakness right now of Petron is the coverage for the blocks. If they can just adjust there, then they'll do better.
18 serving 21. Jill Gustillo, team captain of the Tornadoes, on deck.
Good serve there.
Burns from the back line. Joust at the top. Chance for Foton, and Ruby De Leon will score.
Something that's not expected, and maybe that's the reason why the sweeper was too far from that ball. She did not expect Ruby to do that.
More attack points for Jill Gustillo so far. Din Din Santiago, running attack is good.
A powerful hit, a down the line by Din Din Santiago. Nicely done.
And she's been utilizing that, just like one of her best friends, Abby Maraño, from the Generica Lifesavers.
You know, if you could look, if you could see the hand of Din Din Santiago, it's heavily taped. It's because her right wrist is swollen and it's black and blue, and yet she's playing as if her wrist is okay.
Well, Elena Tarasova getting the better of the defense in that sequence. Foton down by 2, 20 serving 22.
Factor was a factor when they went up against RC Cola, so let's see if she can be a factor here also.
Din Din loading it up. Off the blocker, gets the finish.
Again, coverage is the secret here. If you have blockers, if your opponents are big, you have to have the right coverage.
Petron Blaze within 2 points of security. Slight window, they're down by 3. But Dindin Santiago and the rest of the Blaze Spikers within 2 points of securing set number 1. Elena Tarasova sends it to Irina. Chance ball given up. Erica Dachi back set. That one not over. Aganon with an off-speed attack, ambitious attempt, but sails out of bounds.
Aganon was off position that time, so she did something with the ball. She put a little bit of top spin there, but it just went too long.
And Elena Tarasova on deck to serve. Targeting Dindin Santiago with that one. Here's Elena on the attack. And the finish.
That's a good thing about the team sport, right? I've said this before. If you have a teammate who's got a weakness and you know the weakness, the other teammates are there to help her out. And that's exactly what Petron did for Dindin.
Set point in set number 1. Ruby sends it to Irina. Blocked away and sent away. And set number 1 going to the Petron Blaze Spikers, putting it away 25-21. Set number 2 in just a moment, only here on Solar Sports.
4 attacks, 1 block. Bergsma, 5 attacks. Santiago, 3 attacks and 1 service ace. And Morada with 2 attacks and 2 blocks.
Let's see what Foton can do here. Dachi, quick combination play for Dindin Santiago.
You know, it's really good if the relationship between the hitter and the setter is good. Because sometimes it's just, you know, just a second, one look, alam mo na kung anong gagawin mo. And that's exactly what happened between Dindin Santiago and Erica Dachi.
Ruby De Leon couldn't score that time. Bergsma, but great dig at the back row. Elena Tarasova trying to get the drop ball. Bergsma with a push shot. De Leon sends it back. Chance now for Petron Blaze. They go to Elena, blocked away. Tarasova protecting the net. Morendain from the other side. Pantaleon digs it up. Foton couldn't score that time. A great rally to start set number 2. Oh, Ruby De Leon puts it in.
That was a good way to end that long rally. You know, Ruby De Leon's ball even hit the net, and that's why the force of that ball changed immediately.
And Ruby De Leon, aside of course from her leadership, unfortunately couldn't score from the service line, but I was about to say that Ruby De Leon, one of the craftiest setters here in the Philippine Superliga, with the drop balls,
yes,
those little push shots, those dinks.
Yeah, a veteran in her.
This rookie, sensational in the Philippine Superliga, Dindin Santiago. Ambitious down the line attempt from the service line, just goes out of bounds.
Too much energy there for Dindin.
Elena Tarasova on deck to serve. Before the set began, I was about to ask you what adjustments you'd like to see from Foton, but Coach Villet was very vocal in asking for block coverage for the Tornadoes.
Yes, because you have a lot of attackers from Petron, and these attackers really hammer the ball down. So you really need these blockers because it's very hard to receive unblocked balls from Petron.
Elena Bergsma, but good coverage for Tarasova. Back set to Irina Tarasova. Oh, but excellent block by Mina Aganon.
That was too low. The set for Irina was too low, and I think Ruby knew it. That's why she just got a little bit frustrated after that play.
Petron with a 1-point lead. Like what we mentioned when Petron lost to RC Cola Air Force, there were only, I think, 5 or 6 players in total who put points in.
Yeah, that's why when you're playing volleyball, everybody has to contribute, whether it's in the hits or in the service or in the blocks or in the reception.
Donna Factor on deck to serve. Quick setup job for Micah Morada, but doesn't fall. Back set for Irina Tarasova, off speed attempt. Back set this time to Elena Bergsma, who puts it down.
You know, the thing about the tall player is you can see where you want to put the ball, and when your blockers are not as tall as you are, you really have that advantage to direct the ball wherever you want it to go.
Elena Bergsma on deck to serve for serving 3. Set number 2. A little strong receive there, but Foton able to adjust. They go cross court this time. And Cespolina puts it in.
A net violation called there, I think, on Irina Tarasova.
You know, Foton, or Petron rather, just not going full throttle so far. He's doing the right things, executing very well, and safely putting their shots in.
You know, and I think Foton is doing a good job because we ended the first set with just 25-21, and Foton is in the bottom of the standings and Petron's the first, so you'd think the gap would be so much bigger.
And the way that Pati Orendain throwing it down and putting it down and protecting the net, certainly a huge boost if Orendain and Gustilo can support Elena and Irina Tarasova, who is on deck to serve. Dachi goes to Cespolina. What a play!
You know, nakakatakot yung mga bola ng Petron eh. That's why the blockers have to be there, even to just deflect the power of the hits.
And you know, with Cespolina, Tintin Santiago, Elena Bergsma, all on the floor at the same time, they really play the game way above the net.
Yeah, and Erika Dachi can also hit the ball because she was also a spiker or a hitter before she became a setter. So she's also somebody to watch out for.
5 serving 6. Foton scoring off a service error by the Blaze Spikers. Off-speed attack, doesn't go. Ruby sends it to Elena Tarasova. Blocked away, but ball still in play. Irina from the back row, that's good!
That was the perfect height for Irina, and if you give it to her that way, wow, the score she's gonna give for Foton.
We are all tied up 6-all in set number 2.
Nice.
And of course, with the power game of Irina Tarasova, still very lethal from the back row. Unfortunately, an error for Ivy Remulla.
You know, sometimes it's best if you serve the ball from the middle of the service area so that in case your ball swerves to the right or to the left, you still have space and it'll still go in.
7 serving 6. Tarasova trying to get the drop ball, but covered well by Maika Morada. Running attack, sent away, and Foton on the board.
That was 4 touches. That did not go over the net.
Interesting to see which team will go into the first technical timeout for the lead in set number 2. Pati Orendain on deck to serve. Over receive. Ruby to Factor, blocked away. And once again, the Blaze Spikers with the lead into the first technical. Dachi doing a masterful job so far, the first 2 sets with that service. Here's Irina Tarasova, blocked away by Tintin Santiago.
What a solid block there by Tintin Santiago. You know, I was just gonna say an observation. In the first set, the Petron reached the first technical timeout with 8, and Foton only was 3 points. But now, in the first technical timeout, Foton is 7, so there's an improvement.
And Foton again on the board, trailing by 1 again, 8-9 as we send it over to courtside with Mitchell Carmen.
James and Chicky, regardless of the win, Coach George is not contented with the defense of his girls. As you guys noticed earlier, Foton get numerous points from their drop balls. Now, to remedy this, Coach George gave their main responsibility to their libero, Jen Reyes, in terms of covering most of the balls, especially those coming from zones 3, 4, and 5. Now, another problem Coach George hopes to fix is their blockings. He wants full 2-man blocking from all sides, especially when Irina Tarasova has the ball, even if she's hidden from the back line. Now, offensively, Coach George tells his girls to continue making points, not errors, and just to go with their own pace. James and Chicky?
Thank you so much, Michelle Carmen. Excellent report, especially on the big support that Petron Blaze needs. Of course, obviously, a lot of that falls on the shoulders of Jen Reyes, but everyone has to help out because Jen cannot cover the entire floor just by herself.
That's right, and that's why I keep saying coverage for the blockers is very important because you just never know, baka kasi hindi nila ma-block yung ball.
Petron up 11, serving 8. Tintin Santiago on deck. Coach George Pasco mentioned that they also have to shore up their defense because Foton was scoring with their drop balls. Irina and Elena Tarasova were able to score in a lot of those.
Yeah, that's
trying to load it up, but blocked away.
That's why when you play volleyball, you really have to read your opponents, their hand movements, their bodies, their shoulders. Saan ba to naka-square? How do they lift themselves up off the floor? Are they aiming for a hit? All that goes through the head of a player.
Well, if you're playing in that back row, what's the great way to read how your attacker's positioning themselves and how you should adjust?
You know, you have to be as low to the ground as possible so that you'll see very well how she takes off and then where the ball is going to go, the direction of the ball. The lower you are to the ground, the better you see.
Jen Reyes that time doing a great job anticipating where it will go, leading to this Elena Bergsma finish. Well-executed plays here in the last few sequences for Petron Blaze, scoring off their attacks.
And they seem to be very happy with the way they're performing, all smiles.
Almost a poor reception. Ivy Remulla gives it back. Chance for Petron Blaze. Combination play is good.
You know, Elena Bergsma is really on a roll here. I think she woke up on the right side of the bed. She's been doing a lot of hits and good blockings and services from her. Doing her team good.
And an emphatic finish for Elena Bergsma, extending this Petron lead, 13 serving 9. Will be back set for Irina. That one is good.
That's a good off-the-block point there for Foton.
And Foton's just keeping it within 3, still within striking distance. But you'd like to get to see them get within a solitary point. And unfortunately, those errors will not help the Foton cause.
That was a good eye there by Din Santiago. I thought that ball was going to go in. I think it was probably an inch or 2 inches outside the court.
Elena Bergsma leading the way, also on the service line. Will be back set to Irina. Loads it up and throws it down.
Ang galing, diba? Kasi the mistake was on that part of the court, the right side of the court. So, as his teammate, si Irina hits that ball where the ball dun sa service nag-out. So, you know, team effort there, team support.
11 serving 14. Adachi with it up and the finish.
Something that setters love to do whenever they get the chance. Just to dink it over.
I think Bimdin was saying, you also got me there, but you were going to set me up. 15 serving 11. Ruby sends it over to Orenda in, the blocker for the finish.
You know, Patty's body was facing diagonal, so you'd expect that the ball was going to go cross court, but in the middle of the air, she just moves her hand and the ball went down the line. Good trick there.
12 serving 15. Ivy Remulla on deck for Foton. Reyes with a great reception to this attack by Cesc Molina, but Tarasova digs it up. Elena with the attack, ball doesn't fall. Back set for Elena Bergsma, winds it up, the hang time and the bang time. And Petron Blaze again with Elena Bergsma, Din Santiago the rest of Petron Blaze. We'll find out in just a few moments. Back set this time for Elena, loads it up but couldn't score. Adachi to the other side. That one not over, and point will go to Foton.
Yeah, that ball hit the antenna. That's why ball goes to Foton. You know, the coaches of Petron were not really happy with the way that they played. Petron played against RC Cola, and, you know, of course, we all know the story that they lost. They think that it was because the pace of the way they played the game was just too slow for their normal pace. And before they knew it, they just got sucked into that. So that's why now they're starting out strong and they want to maintain the speed, the momentum that they have right now.
You were telling me about the power that the Petron Blaze is loading on their attacks.
Yes. Just like that.
And unfortunately couldn't score. The block there by Foton, attack not over, and point will go to the Tornadoes.
There was a miscommunication there between the setter and the hitter, and that's why the ball did not go in.
14 serving 17. Ruby De Leon, ambitious attempt from the service line, and it goes out of bounds.
You know, that's how a libero should play. You follow the ball whenever it's served, follow it until the end line, and then make the decision of it, whether it's going to be inside or outside.
Good. Overreceived by Foton, and Mina Ganon puts it down.
You know, it's very dangerous to have a misreceive and then aiming. Well, of course, when you misreceive, you don't really aim the top of the net. But when that happens, it's very dangerous, especially with Petron. They have tall players and they have players who could really hit the ball.
Ruby sends it to Irina, powers it up. And that one is good.
That was a powerful hit by Irina, and it went in between two blockers. Na-receive ni Jen, but it was just too strong.
And you know, when you talk about the transfer of technology here,
Yes.
when the liberos are exposed to international hitters like the Tarasovas, like the Stalzers, the Amermans, that's when they get better as defensive players. As that one goes out of bounds, and again Foton on the board.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you just said, because this is a different kind of volleyball game. The Tarasovas, when they hit the ball, or even Christy Jaco when she hits the ball,
Oh, yes.
I don't think I've seen a Filipina local hit as powerfully as Christy Jaco does.
Off the blocker. Ball still alive. Irina adjusts. Bergsma puts it down.
Bergsma just hammering that ball right on top of that net. Look at this.
As you look to Elena, up high for the strong finish.
Her hand was really on top of the ball. Kaya talagang super sharp ng kanyang hits.
Petron Blaze up by 4. Ruby gets under it. Irina adjusts. Chance for Petron Blaze. Adachi the back set. Elena the shot and the finish.
You know, at that time, Patty Orindin didn't know whether she was gonna cover her face or receive the ball underhand. So, you know, when you're there, make the ball and get the score for Petron. So watch out.
Irina Tarasova off the blocker, couldn't finish. They go to Elena Bergsma, trying to get the drop ball, but attack not over.
She tried to dink it over, but, well, didn't work that time.
Lucky break for the Foton Tornadoes. As a substitution coming in, Jill Castillo, team captain, back in for Doname Factor. So it's Ruby De Leon, Patty Orendain, Ivy Remulla, Irina Tarasova, Beatan, and Jill Castillo on the floor now for Foton.
Wow, that was a good serve. It hit the corner of zone 5.
Way to announce your entry back on the floor. Jill Castillo serving up an ace. Foton down by 3. 18 serving 21.
Target talaga si Dindin eh.
Bergsma off the blocker, denied. Dumped by Ivy, doesn't fall. Back to Irina, that's good. Or rather goes out of bounds.
Well, it's a good thing Jen missed that. She tried to get the hit of Irina. Look at the smile on her face.
Swerte, coach, swerte.
Oo nga. Buti na lang, coach.
22 serving 18. They get that short service to drop. Irina adjusts. Reyes keeps it alive. Adachi, cross-court setup. Cés Molina with a finish.
Sa sobrang powerful ng hit ni Cés Molina, it just went in between the arm.
It's a refreshing change from the usual celebratory group hug.
Oo nga.
Cheek pinching.
Maiba naman.
It's probably the thing now. As again, Petron on the board. Erica Adachi punching it through.
Big smile for her. Doesn't happen all the time because she's the setter.
Biggest lead for the Petron Blaze Spikers. They are up 24-18. Set point in set number 2. Oh, and they serve up an ace. An emphatic way to take the second set, 25-18. And Petron Blaze looking to run away with it. Set number 3 when we come back. Foton coming out with Ivy Remulla, Irina, and Elena Tarasova. But Dindin Santiago again with a lethal attack.
You know, sometimes kasi it's very basic, diba? Receive ka lang, cover ka lang. But when the balls are coming from Dindin Santiago or the likes of hitters like Christy Jekyll, ang hirap din kasi talaga timingan.
Running attack from Elena. Jen Reyes takes it up. Adachi backs it to Elena Bergsma off the blocker for the finish.
You know, I think what Petron is doing is making sure that their balls hit the second line, because the sweeper for Foton seems to be Irina Tarasova, and she's not very fast.
Ruby De Leon. Oh, but excellent save by Adachi. And what a break here. Foton asking for a check ball, but the game officials ruling it just went out of bounds.
Yeah, the reason why they're asking for a check ball was because the linesman said that there was a check ball.
Look at Adachi. Excellent save using her feet.
You know, we don't see that all the time.
Officially the highlight of the day so far.
Right. Sipa.
Ruby to Elena.
Oh!
And again, Petron getting all the breaks early in set number 3.
And to think that was a misreceived by Adachi, and yet it's
and Coach Vellet is beside herself.
I'm sure she is.
She's livid at the sidelines. From the back row, Irina Tarasova gets the finish.
Well, at least with that hit, Foton gets a point in the scoreboard.
Talk about that 4-0 run. A couple of those points is coming from lucky breaks, lucky bounces.
Yeah, unforced errors for Foton.
Set up for Elena Bergsma. A great dig by Gustillo. Combination for Elena Tarasova, puts it through.
Now they're getting on a roll. So let's see if this will continue.
2 serving 4. Jill Gustillo on deck for Foton. And a great read by Jen Reyes, just letting it sail out of bounds.
You know, I guess when you're a libero, alam mo na yung mga services, whether it's gonna go outside or if it's gonna suddenly drop on the end line. That was a good read.
Dindin Santiago on deck, 5 serving 2. Targets the libero that time, and a chance ball given up by Foton. Back set for Elena Bergsma, puts it in.
You see what they're doing? They're hitting the ball, targeting Irina Tarasova, because they know already that it's going to be difficult for Irina to go down to the ground to do a receive.
6 serving 2. De Leon gets under it, setting up Irina Tarasova, blocked away, but ball still in play. De Leon with a push, trying to get the defense off their feet. Bergsma with authority.
Grabe, the hit of Bergsma, almost a frontliner there.
A strong start again in set number 3, just Petron flexing their muscles. Dindin Santiago making her living at the service line. 7 serving 2. Petron with the lead.
Good serve.
Oh, Elena Tarasova's attack not over. First technical time. Dindin Santiago getting all the breaks, breaking defenses, and breaking hearts. Oh, that attack just... Oh, that's good, says the game officials. They call it check ball. So finally, Foton stopping the bleeding as we send it over to courtside with Mitch Del Carmen.
James and Chicky, it was a quiet huddle in the Foton side earlier. Coach Villette is frustrated that she does not see the willingness to win and the fighting spirit of her girls. She tells them to not solely rely on their blockers. When Bergsma hits, do not expect it to be a perfect block, so help each other by covering Bergsma's attacks. Now at the end of the huddle, the Foton players aid themselves by reminding each other to communicate and not lose hope. We did it before and we can do it again. James and Chicky.
Exactly the scenario that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And Elena Tarasova looking to wake up her team without blocking a kill.
You know, it's really important that you communicate in the court, you encourage each other. Look at Elena and Irina, they're encouraging their teammates, and that's the way to go.
And of course, being the ones with international playing experience, they can certainly provide that inspiration. But this time, Irina Tarasova trying to go for the cross-court shots, but most of them not falling in.
Yeah, I think she's just exerting too much effort there. If she could just control it a little bit, that'll be good.
Joust at the top, and that one is good.
Okay, there was a misreception there by Foton, but there was a chance that, you know, the other players could have gotten the second ball, because I think the first ball went to Ruby, but unfortunately there was no communication there.
Binaganan on deck to serve. Back set for Elena Tarasova, puts it down.
A good hit there to zone 6, badly needed point for Foton.
And Elena Tarasova, obviously capable of going into takeover mode.
You know, with Elena, she can manipulate that ball as long as it's near the net, like really near the net.
Usually the recipient of those quick combination plays, well, Elena Bergsma, very versatile, can score off the quick, from the outside position, and off the block.
That's right. You know, when you have a talented and a tall player like Bergsma, well, you can do almost anything.
De Leon, quick combination for Ivy Remulla, puts it down.
At that sequence, medyo nauna yung hulog ni Jen dun before getting the ball. So I'm sure she's going to make up for that. But of course, that was a really good hit by Ivy Remulla.
Back set for Maika Morada, but couldn't score. Ruby sends it to Irina Tarasova, blocked away by Erica Adachi.
And that's why Coach Villette always insists that the coverage has to be active for Foton.
Well, look at the respect that Petron gave Irina Tarasova. 3 blockers on the spectacular score of Foton.
You know, they know she's a strong lady, so they got to stop her.
Good reception by Ivy Remulla. Gustillo on the attack, but no finish.
Good eye there by Bergsma. That ball landed close to the line.
Petron is up. Biggest lead of the game. 13 serving 6. Or rather, ties the biggest lead of the game. Ruby the back set for Irina Tarasova. Bergsma too strong on the dick. Sails out of bounds. Tarasova on the board.
One of those hard hits from Irina that even if you don't move your hands, talagang it's so hard to direct and receive a ball like that.
Too strong on the reception, and Irina Tarasova serving up an ace.
You know, even if it's expected na, if it's a spike, a hit, okay, it's gonna be really strong from Irina, but also for service.
Adachi trying to get that one in. Irina from the back row, blocked away. Erica Adachi throws it down and stares her down.
Adachi, the lone blocker there for that hit from Irina.
I don't know if you caught that special handshake between Dindin Santiago and Erica Adachi.
The best buds.
Ruby sets up Jin Gustillo off the blocker, gets the finish.
Mina Gannon and Maika Morada both looked at each other and said, okay, that's one on us.
A welcome sight to see one of the locals get in the scoring act for the Foton Tornadoes. Again, no Zihar Basho in this game for the Foton Tornadoes. He was in law school.
Law school.
So it's up to your soldiers in uniform. Back set this time. Elena had to adjust. And no one was able to get to the ball. Lucky break for the Foton Tornadoes.
Erica didn't like that. She was clapping her hands and saying, come on, come on. Because of course that was an unforced error. I mean, it was an easy ball. Somebody just had to bring it over.
And goes George Pasqua, livid at the sidelines after that error. Maybe that can breathe some life here in the Foton Tornadoes cause.
Yeah.
Over C. Remulla gets under it. Irina off speed attack. Jen Reyes sticks it up. Elena from the other side. Ambitious attempt goes out of bounds.
Petron's asking for a touch there.
Look at Foton now, trailing by just 3. Elena Bergsma still seeking clarification. But while she does that, the confidence, oh, she's given a card.
A yellow card there. It's a warning because you really can't over-question the referee.
They got to be careful now.
Yes. Another yellow card means a red card, and that's a free point for the other team.
And Foton down by just 3. Bergsma with a good reception. They go to Mina Aganon on the attack, but no finish. And Foton capitalizing on the attack errors of the Petron Blaze Spikers.
You know, Elena Bergsma is really passionately fighting over this because the linesman said that there's a touch, but the head referee says there's no touch.
And now the game officials will convene here. On the part of Elena Bergsma, I'm sure she wouldn't be so passionately arguing for her cause if she felt like she didn't have a case.
That's right. And you know, she's doing a good job as the team captain of Petron, fighting for her team this way. And the decision is...
It will stay.
It will stay.
So Foton down by just 2. The fans of Phil Cainlet Cayetano coming to life with her entry on the game, replacing Mina Aganon. Let's see if Phil's entry can give Petron a different dimension to their game. Bergsma with a push shot, attack not over, and Foton down by just a solitary point.
You know, Bergsma wanted to hit that ball, but I don't know what happened in the middle of her jump. She just decided to tip it over, and it was just too late. She was too far from the net.
13 serving 14. Chance for Foton to equalize. Back set for Dindin Santiago. Excellent dig. Oh, that one goes in. Tie game, 14-0.
Phil Cainlet was just, or Cayetano was just a little bit too slow going back to her position. And that's why that ball just landed there, earning Foton the point. There.
A lucky break for Foton.
Yeah, she thought it was outside as well.
And Ivy Remulla serving up an ace. Foton takes the lead.
You know, Ivy Remulla did this too when they went up against RC Cola. She was just putting in the score through her services. And Jen Reyes, a good libero, was not able to get that.
Foton starting to get their second win. They are up 15-14. Back set this time, Dindin Santiago, but good coverage by Irina Tarasova.
Easy over there.
Chance for Foton. Tarasova. Ball still in play. Phil Cayetano on the attack, couldn't finish. And they give up a chance ball. How will Petron respond? And that one is good for Erika Adachi.
Erika Adachi with game face. She just wanted to end that rally, so she tipped it over, a sharp dip over there, earning Petron that point. And now we're tied.
Trying to go for a short service. Tarasova, but Adachi digs it up. Reyes gets under it, sends it to Bergsma, but great dig by Irina Tarasova. Gustila trying to get the drop ball, but blocked away. Irina from the back row, almost with a friendly roll. Reyes with a chase. Elena Bergsma the attack and the finish. What a sequence. Perfect timeout to the lead. Let's see how Foton responds. Almost a check ball, but Morado digs it up. Combination for Dindin Santiago, doesn't fall. And Santiago with a dump and the finish.
That was a competition there between Elena and Dindin Santiago, and Dindin getting the better of that joust.
Erica Dachi on deck to serve. 2-point advantage for Petron Blades. Short service. Ruby De Leon. Jen Reyes with a heads-up play defensively. Cayetano trying to get the drop ball, but no goal. Gustilo couldn't score that time. Elena adjusts. Tries to go cross court, but no finish. Irina off speed. Great rally in set number 3. Overreaching on Foton, Petron on the board.
Yeah, that was overreaching because Erica Dachi was just going to set that ball, but it was immediately blocked even before she was going to set that ball.
Irina from the back row, off the blocker, that's good.
That was a good hit by Irina. Medyo linihis niya yung bola niya, and that's why it escaped the blockers.
16 serving 18. Oh, Reyes had to dive for that one. Bergsma with the attack, but kept alive by Gustilo. Irina trying to get the sideline, punches it through.
A smart move by Irina. She saw that nobody was there for the coverage, so she just put it there. Off-speed hit there by Irina. You know, sometimes kailangan mo talaga yun eh. Off-speed lang, mga light touches para magulat din yung opponent.
Tintin Santiago blocked away, and Foton again tying this game up, 18 points apiece.
Gets the best of you, so Coach George there was saying, don't be afraid. You just need to make a good reception there.
This is how Foton was able to secure some victories early in the tournament. The way they can just come back, take a game, score from the service line, score defensively.
Right, like right now, they're leading by 1.
Santiago's power hit doesn't go. Chance ball given up. Adachi back to Elena. That's good.
That ball was just so fast that Bayedan wasn't able to get it. It seemed like it went through her arms.
They're all tied up, 19 all. Tintin Santiago, 6 attacks, 2 blocks, and a service ace to her stat line so far. Chance ball given up.
First ball is really a problem for Foton right now.
Off the blocker, couldn't score, was Elena Bergsma. Tarasova's turn, down the line, but sails out of bounds.
Oh, now it's Foton's turn to complain.
Well, from your angle, Chicky, what did it look like?
I thought it was inside.
Outside, nakita ko. Habol ako sa bola.
Well, our head official defending her decision, saying that at least from her angle, of course, way closer than our angle here. So we gotta respect that. Petron retaking the advantage, 20 serving 19. Joust at the top. Ruby keeps it alive. And another chance ball given up. Erica goes to Elena, punches it through.
You know, I really wonder why, if it's a chance ball, they give it to the front liner. Normally, what you have to do is set, rather, to stay alive.
Tintin Santiago on deck to serve. Commits an error. And again, Foton looking to capitalize.
Now they're just, Petron is just 1 point ahead of Foton. So if Ruby De Leon can just bring this over with a point.
Good reception leading to this attack. Bergsma blocked away. Adachi gets under it. Morada sends it over. Ball kept alive, and Elena Tarasova will score.
And you know, she just tipped that over. Parang she was playing with that ball. Look at her face. Seemed like she had fun with that ball. It almost just hit the tips of her fingers. Well, that did it.
Ruby De Leon on deck to serve. Bergsma off the blocker. Ball doesn't fall. Ruby sends it to Irina. And that one is good.
There was a touch there from the blockers. And now Foton is up by 1.
This is a tight and testy contest Here in set number 3, Gretchen Ho, will she make a difference? He replaces Maika Morada. Ruby De Leon loading up the service. Back set. Erica to Elena. Oh, what a sequence for Foton, and they get the lucky break. Or for Petron, rather, getting the lucky break.
Well, you know, that was a ball that could have been really hit hard by Elena, but it just, you know, she tried. There was a mistake there by Gretchen Ho. As you can see, that was an easy, slow ball, but Elena just hit the tape, and that's a violation.
Cayetano with the service. Back set for Elena Tarasova. That's good.
Good hit there by Elena. You know, whenever she gets a set, a spike, well, a set that's for a running spike, she does really good.
And Elena Tarasova on deck to serve. Adachi the back set. So Elena Bergsma winds it up, but no finish. Bill Cayetano chases it down. Jen Reyes gives up a chance ball. Irina puts it away.
You know, Jen was there for the coverage, but the ball make a big difference in terms of the direction of the ball.
Elena Tarasova serving for the set. They're up 24-22. Bergsma off the blocker. Chance for Foton. Ruby De Leon to Irina Tarasova. Attack not over, but ball still in play. Gretchen Ho keeps it alive. Adachi gets under it. Elena Bergsma puts it down.
And Petron stays alive. Care of that hit by Bergsma.
We are in for a wild finish in set number 3. And Coach Villette wants it.
Coach Villette to set up for Irina.
Great reception for Foton. Irina loads it up. Ball doesn't fall. Petron still alive. Bergsma trying to get the attack. But Foton steals set number 3. What a finish. 25-23. Getting their second win. Hoping for a second chance. Set number 4 when we return the exciting, hard-hitting action of the Philippine Superliga Grand Prix only here on
One service ace.
Let's see how Petron responds to having a set taken away from them. That attack just sails over for Foton, so Petron on the board.
I think Irina saw the blockers there. They were tall, so she tried to put the ball above the blockers, but it just went too long.
Well, while we're still starting set number 4, Chicky, let me ask you, what was the most impressive thing about Foton in that previous set?
They did not give up, because they were down mostly for that set, and then they just rallied until the end, and they were talking, they were encouraging each other. The thing there was they did not give up.
What changed in the game of Petron on the other side?
Well, I think for Petron, they were surprised by the fact that Foton was playing a better game, and there were just too many complaints raised, and I think that really broke their momentum. So maybe this time around, they'll be just playing volleyball.
At that point, we'll go to Petron Blaze. Off the error from the Foton Tornadoes, Molina back on the floor. She joins Mina Agado and Erica Adachi. Elena Bergsma. And David Santiago is on deck to serve. And she serves up an ace. And Petron again looking for a strong start. And set number 4, it was sent into courtside with Mitchell Carmen.
James and Chicky in the Petron bench. Coach George is now asking his second stringers to start warming up. It's not the timeouts they need, it's the talking inside the court. In the huddle before the start of the set, Coach George didn't focus much on skills, but more on psychology. He advises them to focus on the game, make the right decisions, and communicate inside the court. Spiker David Santiago also reminded them to prove themselves as Petron Blaze Spikers by not relying on the referee's calls and errors of their opponents. James and Chicky.
Thank you so much, Mitch. Excellent observation on the tips of the Petron Blaze bench, and that's when Elena Bergsma actually got a yellow card for over complaining. So could have taken Petron out of their game a little bit.
Yeah. I'm sure it did because there was a pause there. So, di ba yung energy mo, it kind of slows down when you're at the peak. It just suddenly slows down because the game stops. Maybe this time around, you know, if the referee calls, alam mo namang the referee will never change the call.
The flow is so important,
yeah,
especially in the game of volleyball.
Yes.
Combination play. Doesn't fall for Donna Factor. Bergsma trying to get the drop ball and the finish.
A good eye there by Bergsma, hitting zone 3.
Again, Bayatan just had to work doubly hard here because Elena Bergsma is showing her just the whole arsenal of shots. Ruby sends it to the other side. Irina Tarasova blocked away and sent away.
Parang si Bergsma galit na siya, no? Okay, I don't wanna have a 5th set. Let's finish this. Parang ganun yung ano niya, approach niya now eh.
Especially with Petron having been undefeated for the longest time before finally falling to the RC Cola Air Force Raiders.
Yeah, and I'm sure they don't want a repeat of that.
Oh, Tarasova down the line for the finish.
A good hit there by Tarasova. It really hit the line, so it was kind of hard to know whether it was inside or outside.
Elena Tarasova on deck to serve. 3 serving 7. Targets Jen Reyes on that service. Dindin Santiago had to chase after it. Sets up Cés Molina. Back set for Irina Tarasova. Puts it down.
That was beautiful, beautiful set by Ruby De Leon.
And as we mentioned, Ruby De Leon, an ageless wonder in terms of setting. The longevity of her career, her experience, allowing Irina Tarasova to put it down. Dachi the back set. Elena Bergsma puts it down. And Petron will go into the first set.
Wow, one of the few times that Elena Bergsma serves to the net.
Well, Foton, of course, being able to capitalize on a lot of the errors of Petron Blaze in the previous set, as well as executing on their own. Ivy Remulla serving up an ace, getting some blocks. That time Remulla trying to score, but no go. Cés Molina, cross-court shot, no finish. Back set for Irina Tarasova, blocked away, but ball stays in, and Foton chasing this Petron lead, 6 serving 8.
It's good that Foton is very active inside the court with the distribution of the sets from the middle to the cuatro. Very nicely done. All they have to do really is keep moving.
Donna Factor on deck. Targets Elena Bergsma with that service. Bergsma gets it back, down the line, finish is good.
Just too bad nobody tried to get that ball. But that was a good hit by Elena Bergsma. Zone 1.
But if anything, you can see the energy of the Foton Tornadoes definitely picking up.
Oh, yes.
As Gretchen serves it up. Targets Bayatan, a former fellow Ateneo Lady Eagle. Dindin Santiago, the running attack, puts it through.
The blockers there, well, they weren't able to get Dindin Santiago's hit. Let's look at that again. Hindi sila nakatalon eh. They did not jump high enough and the hands were barely above the net.
You know, it's like having a LeBron James on your team. Just a source of points. She can block, she can attack, running. Score from the service line, but Irina Tarasova, I don't know any LeBron James. I'm the LeBron James of my team, a scoring machine as well. 7 serving 10 in set number 4. 21 attacks in a service ace, her stat line so far. Here's Dindin Santiago, off speed.
He's still alive. Good dig there by Irina.
2 players on the floor, Tarasova and Donna Factor, as Petron continues to blaze. And Tarasova, I think, a little hurt. They collided. Donna Factor and Irina Tarasova, she's holding on to her hips a little bit.
I hope she's okay, but you know, she's a trooper. She stays in the court.
We have to remember that she went down with that neck injury.
Oh yeah, and it took her out of a game or 2.
Foton receives that one well. Irina has to adjust. Triple block is good for Petron Blaze. You know, looking at Irina, she couldn't even, get her full momentum for the jump.
Yeah, I was going to say that fall really affected her.
She's still rubbing that area. Well, like you mentioned, Irina Tarasova is a warrior. She's going to try and play through it.
2 service errors at my count for Petron.
Ivy Remulla on deck to serve. 8 serving 12.
Let's see if Ivy can put in the score through her services. In the last set, she's put in about 3 or 4 service aces.
Adachi sends it over to Mina Agano, but ball doesn't fall. Combination for Elena. Ball still in play. Running attack for Dindin. Factor covers the block. And a chance ball given up. Adachi, combination play for Dindin Santiago.
Oh my goodness, what a hit by Dindin Santiago. Front line there.
To paraphrase NBA commentator Kevin Harlan, Dindin Santiago with no regard for human life.
Yes, exactly. Wow, what a hit.
Petron is up 13-8. Elena blocked away. Irina, off-speed attack. Jen Reyes covers the block. Adachi to Dindin, back-to-back hits.
Ito parang ang Petron, no, they just want to end this game because they're really hammering it in. Foton needs to regroup. They have to talk inside the court. Get with the rhythm.
Ruby sends it to Gustilo. Blocked away. And Petron putting on a blaze of points here in set number 4.
Gustilo tried her best in that hit. I mean, she faced 2 big blockers. So what do? Just try and hit that ball as hard as you can.
Gustilo has to adjust. Adachi to Mina Aganon. Punches it through. And again, tough uphill climb if they want to get back into this game. As again, Petron Blaze serving up an ace. Erica Adachi on the board.
You know, for a first ball, the goal is not to let your setter run. The goal is to give the first ball to the setter.
Speaking of setting, 50 excellent sets for Erica Adachi so far, and she's not done.
What a number.
Make that 51. Yes, Mina Aganon, you know what to do. When you have the hammer, Chicky, you put it down.
That's right. And you know, Mina Aganon, she's not very tall, but she's got a really powerful hand.
Adachi back on deck to serve. Ruby the backs of Elena Tarasova punches it through.
That was a good hit there by Irina. Every time you give her a running spike, when she does it very well.
Loves actually doing the drop ball, but that time loading it up, and she puts it down.
And serving, number 6, the captain.
9 serving 18. And look at Foton serve up an ace.
A good service ace there from Gustilo.
You know, the way that they can score from the service line, no lead is safe for Foton.
Yeah, I mean, Gustilo can do it, Tarasova can do it, the Tarasovas can do it, Ivy Remulla can do it.
Again, Erica Adachi with that kick save. Irina from the back row. Jen Reyes covers the block. Oh, but a violation on the part of Petron Blaze. 2 touches.
That was a double call for Dindin Santiago. She tried to set that up.
So Foton with back-to-back hits here. This time coming off an error. Cross-court setup for Elena Bergstrom. And that one is good off a double touch. Or a lifting violation, rather, for Ruby De Leon.
Yeah, Ruby was saying, hey, I blocked that ball, but the referee said, no, the violation is lifting.
Commanding 8-point advantage for Petron Blaze. Elena Tarasova could have scored that time.
Good dig there. It's just too bad. Hindi nila nagawa ng paraan. That was a good dig by Jill Gustilo.
And Erica Adachi has come up with some miraculous saves. Some Filipino conference, one of the league leaders in bigs. Elena Tarasova blocked away, and Petron again on the board.
And it's the same mistake for Foton. There was no coverage there for that block.
Coach Villet Ponce de Leon still trying to rally the troops here. Tintin Santiago, obviously devastating from any angle on deck to serve.
Oh yeah.
Factor trying to score there, but ball doesn't fall. Mina Aganon, unfortunately too much English on that shot.
Well, now, you know, Foton should take advantage of it. They got that point. If Ruby can just serve a service ace, that'll be great. Not a service error. You know, I think she's really tired because she's been going everywhere in the court trying to get that second ball.
Oh, that's a good point, because if the first touch for the Foton Tornadoes isn't good, it's up to Ruby De Leon to chase after it, get under it, and as much as possible try for the best setup possible.
Yeah, she has to put that up for an attack.
Tarasova on the attack, but Cayetano takes it up. Unfortunately, Gretchen won't get to that one in time. But still, Petron with a commanding advantage, 22-13. That's Elena Tarasova on deck to serve.
Good serve there.
Elena Bergsma puts it down.
The blockers weren't there for Bergsma at that time.
And Elena Bergsma will take a break, much deserved, after everything she has given. So now with Grace Masangkay on the floor, Erica Adachi will be a hitter. Here's Irina Tarasova. Masangkay digs it up. Adachi sets it up for Ses Molina, blocked away.
A wall of a block there by Irina, hanging on. You know, ito talaga eh. If the referee hasn't called game over, you still have hope.
14 serving 23. They target Phil Cayetano. Masangkay sends it over to Ses Molina. And there is a violation there on the part of Foton.
Yeah, there's a net violation there. I think that was on origin, hoping that, you know, the players would fight and still not give up.
We are at match point between Petron and Foton. Cayetano with a good reception, and Irina Tarasova puts it down.
And that's a fighter in Irina. She had that slight accident there a while ago. She was in pain, but she stayed in the court and she's still fighting it out.
Targets Phil Cayetano on the service. Masangkay to Erica Adachi. Down the line for the finish, and she puts the game away, 25-15. And Petron Blaze taking it in 4 sets, winning set number 4, 25-15. What a way for Petron to have a commanding victory against the Foton Tornadoes, 25-21, 25-18, falling in the third set, 23-25, but ultimately flexing their muscles, putting the game away with a 10-point advantage in set number 4.
It seemed like they didn't like that loss in the third set, so you could see the 10-point difference in set number 4. And Petron was really hammering it in. They were working as a team. You know, Erica Adachi had really great sets and a number of excellent sets for her, so that in the end, Coach George Pasco just said, hey, you want to be a hitter? Okay, I'll give you the chance. And yeah, and she scored the last point for Petron.
And for Erica Adachi, of course, I think 51 or 52 excellent sets.
Wow.
That's inhuman, you know, especially in a game like this one, for you to be able to play that long, to be that productive. And Erica Adachi just doing a masterful job making sure everyone got their touches. Tintin Santiago was scintillating as usual. You saw Ses Molina in several sequences. Mina Aganon, you know, it's always important to get your leading scorers and your supporting cast their touches in the game.
Yeah, and of course, Erica Adachi had so many excellent sets because they had really excellent first balls.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that's, you know, it's really a team effort. You cannot win this game with just 2 players. It takes at least 6.
And of course, the most impressive player of the game at courtside with Mitchell Carmen.
Erica, you had 13 points in 52 excellent sets. Yes. And now I noticed earlier during the crucial times of the games, you were giving pieces of advice to your teammates. What were you telling them?
I was telling them that like the second part of like the championship's a different part, and so Foton was different team, and then we have like to play hard and try like to crush and not give them like opportunity like to think that they can play. So I was telling them like to fight, and also like giving some like techniques, advices, because sometimes like the ball is not perfect and I'm too perfectionist, so I want the ball like I want the pass like to be perfect, and I want it like to play hard so we don't have like any trouble during the match.
Now you told me earlier that you've been here for a month and a half already. What Filipino languages have you learned? What Filipino words?
I learned my favorite one is namamas ko po and like chaka, like gay lingo, also talaga, aganon, like tara tara, bilis bilis, and I don't know, I have like a bunch of words, but my favorite one, namamas ko po and aguinaldo.
That's very interesting to know. There you have it, Erica Adachi, the most impressive player of the game. Back to you guys.
I'd like to give out an award, most impressive language learning from an import in the Philippine Superliga. And now we look at the team standings. Of course, Petron on top of the heap with a 7-1 record. RC Cola Air Force not far behind, tying Generic at 5-3. But Foton still at the bottom of the standings. For the top 4 teams, they still have to make that strong push. Signal and Main and Tail in a tight race for positioning.
Yeah, you know, I like, just segue a little bit, I like the way Erica Adachi said, let's not let them think that they can play. You know, that's a player, that's a competitive player there, and you need that in your team.
And that's the competitive fire that you need if you want to succeed here in the Philippine Superliga Grand Prix. And up next, the Signal HD Spikers take on the RC Cola Air Force Raiders. Keep it here, and the exclusive coverage of the Philippine Superliga Grand Prix brought to you by Solar Sports. Ito ang